Happy Sabbath, everyone. Hey, good to see all of you guys. Um, I don't know if you guys have any traditions, but one of the things that me and Grace decided to do during Christmas was actually watch Christmas movies. Okay? Any of you guys have not famous, favorite Christmas movies that you guys like? Okay, what are some of your favorite Christmas movies? Okay, what? Santa Claus, okay. That's pretty Christmassy, okay? Okay, just shout it out. The Grinch. It's a Wonderful Life is a great one. So this year, I watched a pretty famous one. I'm sure you guys know. I think somebody shouted out, but I always heard of it, but I never watched it. Very, very touching, deep, meaningful movie called Elf. Okay, so to give you the premise of the movie, basically his name is Buddy. Okay, and Buddy, he was an orphan, but Santa Claus accidentally brought him to the South Pole, right? And so, North Pole, sorry, North Pole. Okay, and so he actually grew up with the elves. Okay, but the problem is, what happens? He's a human being. He's not an elf. So what happens? And this is the funny part of it is he outgrows them. Okay, he's this like big guy, and elves are really small. So because of that, as you can see, humans living in an elf world, there's a lot of problems, a lot of issues, right? Like the house is too small for him and everything else. Like the tools that he's making, everything is too small for him, okay? So there's actually a scene, okay, where this guy, I forgot his name, but this manager elf, he's very happy with Buddy the elf, okay, or Buddy the human being. And so they end up like talking behind his back, and Buddy overhears. And one of the things that he says is, man, when is he going to realize that he's actually a human being, that he's not an elf? And he overhears that, and then there's like this moment, like the scene goes like, and then he's like kind of like nauseous, right? And then he's like, and then he realizes, oh shoot, it all makes sense, right? He's thinking about like shoes he's wearing, and all the elf shoes never fit him. He's thinking about the bed he's sleeping in, and it's like, no, he had to use like 2 or 3 beds, and still it was never big enough for him. Okay? Why am I talking about this? It's because we're going over a series called Enneagram. And Enneagram, a lot of times as you're going over it, that's how you feel a lot of times. You feel like, wait, why do I act the way I do? Why am I so bothered by some of these things that other people don't seem bothered by? Okay? Or why is it that people don't really understand me? And that's what Enneagram really is. Enneagram, if you look at it superficially, it's a personality test that tells you, but that kind of gives you a personality test, and there's 9 different types. But we're not going over it superficially. We're going in depth, and we're saying, why do we act the way we do? If we understand, the better, kind of like Buddy in a lot of sense, the better we understand why we act the way we do, we're able to eliminate some of the negative things we do. And also, when we see our spouse or our children, our coworkers, then we better understand, oh, they're not just crazy, they're not just weird, okay, but they're just human beings, okay? There's different things that we're colored by. And so, that's why when I watched the elf, I was like, this is totally the Enneagram. But there's actually a second reason why we're talking about elf, okay? And it's because today's number that we're going to go over is Enneagram number 4, type 4, okay? And type 4s understand, like Buddy, they understand deep down inside that they're very, 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 very different. Okay? And that's a main big core about the force. So we'll get into it, okay? All right. So they're called the individualist. They're also called romantics. But honestly, for 4s, I think no title really describes them really well, okay? So let's go over some of the characteristics. Characteristic number 1, like Buddy, they are very, 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 very unique. Different ways to say it, they're just different. Okay? If you say it badly, they're weird. Okay? That characterizes fours very, very well. Okay? The thing is, fours also feel the same way. Okay? Their whole life, they live their life thinking something is wrong with me, or something is off about me, or something is different. Okay? So, for example, they might say, all my family members, they're really good at sports. But me, I don't like sports. I just like reading. So they feel like they're totally different from their family members. Or it might be vice versa, right? Where everybody likes reading, everybody's smart, but me, I don't care about studying at all. So they just feel different. They always felt like they're missing something or something was out of place. Okay? So we're going to talk about this uniqueness or this difference that they do have. Second characteristic, they are very, 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 very emotional. If you guys remember from a couple weeks ago, we talked about type 3. Type 3 and type 4 are basically on opposite spectrum. Okay? Threes, they don't have feelings, they just do feelings. Okay? They don't feel feelings. But fours are totally on the other spectrum. Fours, all they do is feel. Okay? So when they get sad, they don't just say, I feel sad. They say, I am sad. My identity is sadness. When they're happy, their identity itself is happiness. Everything is happy. Okay? So for them, they don't feel like they're too emotional. But people on the outside looking at fours, we're like, whoa. Okay? It's like a roller coaster with them. When their highs are high, it's very, very high. They're just way over the top, too happy. And then when they're low, it's like, whoa. It's like, did someone die in your life? Because like you're so sad. Okay? Because of that, on the outside, okay, the fours don't really necessarily feel like this. But for us who are not fours, a lot of times they seem like drama mamas. Okay? They seem like everything is so big and everything is going to consume them. Why? Because, again, they're very in touch with their emotions. Okay? But because they're they're in so touch with their emotions and they know they're different, okay? They're the most creative out of the Enneagrams. So that's why sometimes the Enneagram number 4, they're called the romantist or the creative. Okay, and some of you guys are like, yeah, I'm a romantic, so I'm a type. No, it doesn't work that way, okay? The reason why they're so creative, the reason why they can think out of the box, the reason why they're so innovative is because, again, they're in touch with their emotions. They look at the world differently than most of us do. Okay? All right. Let me give you just one example of a 4. Okay? And I think I read this from in a book. This girl started reading Enneagram, and she realized she's a 4. Do you know what she did? She started bawling. Why? She said, I thought I was the only one like this in the whole universe, right? Because uniqueness for them is a very, very important thing, okay? So they said, the fact that there are other people like this in the world, that makes me so sad. Okay? That's a perfect description of a 4. Again, these are just obviously generalizations, okay? And some of you guys who are adults and you are 4, okay, you guys feel like, oh, this is not really me. It's probably because, again, you had kids and all of these things. But again, specifically, if in your 20s, you felt like this was a big part of your life, then most likely you are a 4. I know there are some guests in here, and I know there are some visitors and people who have no idea what your Enneagram is. Don't worry, we have a test for you, and we'll give you the test afterwards. But if you resonate with any of these things, you're like, oh, shoot, and you feel uncomfortable, most likely you're a 4. Okay, so can we find someone like this within the Bible? Okay. We think that David was a type 4. Okay, so again, is this 100%? No. Did he take Enneagram? No, I don't know. Okay, but we're thinking, or my guesstimation is that David was actually a four. So let me give you some examples of the four, okay? We know, number one, that there's 150 Psalms in the Bible. Do you guys know how much percent or how many of the Psalms that David actually wrote? Do you guys know? How much percent do you think David actually wrote out of the Psalms? Huh? 90? 100? Anybody else? 60? Okay, so it was actually about, yeah, that percent, okay? So about less than 50, little less than 50, but he wrote half the Psalms. Okay? Again, they're emotional, they're creative. I'll give you some of the examples, okay? Look at some of the language he uses and how descriptive and how poetic these Psalms are. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. Okay? This is written by a four. Okay? Threes, which said, God's leading me, that's it. Okay? He's doing stuff for me. But you see, fours, they're very, very descriptive. This is this is him crying out to God. And look how descriptive and look how many emotional laden words he actually uses. Have mercy on me, Lord, for I am faint. Hear me, Lord, for my bones are in agony. My spirit is in deep anguish. Look how many words he's using. How long, Lord, how long? I am worn out from my groaning. So you see, David, he's in touch. He's poetic, he's creative, he's innovative. He's in touch with his emotions. So when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, it seems like he's experiencing hell. But the example, I'll give you another one, okay? And this one, he's crazy. David took these words to heart and was very much afraid of King of Gath. Okay, so what happens is basically King of Gath, he's the Philistine king. And basically, David was running away from his own king because his own king, Saul, if you guys remember, was trying to kill him. So he actually had to go to his enemy. Anyways, so he pretended to be insane in their presence. And while he was in their hands, he acted like madmen, marking marks on the doors of the gate and letting saliva run down his beard. Again, okay, so he goes to the enemy and they're like, wait, isn't that David? And so what does he do? He's like, oh shoot, I don't know what to do, so I'll just act really, really weird. So they'll just think I'm just a crazy guy. Okay? Again, type fours are unique. They're different. But on the outside, they seem really, really weird. Okay? And David does weird things like this. Okay? All right. But the story that we see, one thing that really, really, really paints their life, and we're going to get a little deeper. So if you are a four, put your shield up. One of the things that they really, really struggle with is this concept of envy. Okay? And we're going to be talking about envy quite a bit. But envy is basically, if you guys don't know, is basically wanting something that you don't have. Okay, so if somebody else has it, I want that thing, and I don't have it. And this is what we see. As Nicole read it for us, one evening David got up from his bed, walked around the roof of the palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. Then David sent a messenger to get her. She came to him, and she slept with her. Then she went back home. The woman conceived and sent check. Therefore, if I have this, if I just have this, if I just make more money, if I just have this career, if my kids just look like this, okay, if my workplace was like this, then things are going to be okay. So let's go a little bit deeper and let's see what's the wounding message or the broken message. And Enneagram says all of us, all different types, 9 types, all of us have different message. So what's going on deep down inside the type 4's heart? Let's see. This is what they say. Something is off about me. Something is missing in my life. I don't know where I lost it. I don't know if I was born like this, but something is off. And I know it. I know that something is off. And because of that, no one understands me. Nobody. Not even my parents. Because even the family that I was born into, they seem different. Like Buddy, the elf. Everybody just seems so different. And so their conclusion is, I'm never going to belong anywhere. Okay? No one understands me, so I don't belong anywhere. And so what do? This is what they start doing. So they say, something's missing in my life. I don't fit in. Nobody understands me. So what do? And this is kind of the irony or the weird thing. Okay, if you're not a 4, this is really weird. Is instead of trying to fit in with people, what they do is they embrace their uniqueness and they just externalize it even more. So they say, be as unique as possible to stand out. Because no one understands me, I'm going to embrace that uniqueness or difference that I see in me, and so I'm going to stand out. And that's why, again, they're so unique, they're so different. They do things that's like totally different. It's like, why would you act this way? Okay, something about them, they're just so unique. Emotionally, they get really, really dramatic. They're so in touch with their emotions, but they can't hide it. It just gushes out all over them. Okay, why? Again, because they feel like I have to be unique in order to belong. I have to be different in order to be loved. I have to be unique in order to get love and security and my identity. So this is what they say. Being unique and emotional is me. That's who I am. So if I am sad, that's me. And if I don't act it out, then I'm not me. So like David felt lust, saw a girl and said, this is what I need that will fulfill my missingness. And if I don't do it, then I will not receive love. I will not belong anywhere else. Okay? So this is what's going on deep down type 4's heart. On the outside, emotional, creative, unique, innovative, romantic, all of these good and bad things. But deep inside, what's really the lie that they believe in is something's missing. I don't belong anywhere. I'll never be understood. So, what's the healing message for them? So, Prophet Nathan, after all of this event, Prophet Nathan, God sends Nathan to David. And he tells David a story. And some of you guys are familiar with this story. Now, back then, okay, it's not like today where the president actually just has executive power, but back then they also had judicial power, which means they actually had to judge as well. Okay, so Nathan comes and says, hey, you're the ultimate judge of our kingdom. I have a case. I have a story. You be the judge. Okay, so he says there's 2 men. One man, super duper duper super rich, has everything. The other man, very, very poor. The only thing that this one man has is this sheep. And it's so precious to him, he sleeps with it, eats with it, baits with it, does everything with it. The rich man one day has a friend that came and visited him. Okay? But this rich man, he didn't want to let go of any of his resources. So instead, we don't know exactly how, but he took the poor man's lamb and served and killed it and served his friend. And Nathan comes and says, what should we do with this man? And David here says, he gets so angry and he says, we need to kill him. How dare he? Does he think that there is no justice in my kingdom? Nathan replies, you are that man. This is what the Lord says. The God of Israel says, I have anointed you king over Israel. I have delivered you from the hands of Saul. I give you, your master's house to you, your master's wife into your arms. I give you all Israel and Judah, and if all this had been too little, I would have given you even more. So he's basically saying, Nathan's saying, you are this rich man who has everything. But what are you doing? You are so envious. Because why? Because you feel like there is something missing in your life. You feel like only this sheep will satisfy me. This empty longing that I do have, only this is going to get me love. Does it sound familiar? Okay? There is David, there is type 4 in all of us. This envy in all of us, where we go, if only I have this, I'm going to be happier. If only I marry this kind of woman or marry this kind of man. Only if I have this kind of career. Only if my kids get this kind of award. Then I got it. And God is saying in response, if this were too little for you, I would have given you even more. You have so much already. And so this is what the 4s really need to hear. Because the reason why they become so immersed in emotions, the reason why they go, I have to be unique, is because, again, they feel like, I have no love outside of that. I have no belonging outside of that. No one will understand me. And what is God saying? God's basically saying this. And this is what the 4s really need to hear. Okay, let me skip this really quick. I'll come back to this. This is what they really need to hear. Okay, nothing is missing. Okay, essentially, there's nothing wrong about you. There's nothing missing. Because, and this is important for 4s, because they feel like, like you get a toy, and they just feel like a piece of the toy is just missing in their life. Like everyone else looks totally fine. Like everyone else looks happy, but me, I'm missing something. And so 4s, you need to realize, no, nothing is missing. God didn't send you, okay, as a broken, like a refurbished product. No. Don't worry, you're not missing anything. Actually, God has given you so much. Everything that you need is provided by God. Okay, this is what 4s really need to hear. And in turn, we tell them, and this is what we need to tell the 4s, we see you. Okay? You belong with us. Okay? You're not an outsider. Okay? You might be different, you might be unique, you might be emotional, but you're still part of us. You're beautiful just as you are. Don't be ashamed. Okay, this is what essentially 4s really, really need to hear is, it's okay that you're different. It's okay that you're emotional. But don't worry, nothing is missing. You don't have to try so hard, okay, to earn people's love. You don't have to try so hard to do all of this. Why? Because in the end, it is God who provides. Right? This is the message that David heard. David heard, I gave you everything. When you were a little shepherd and you had nothing, I give you this kingdom. I give you your identity. I give you your love. I give you your security. And if you wanted more, I would have given you even more. Okay? Stop begging for attention. Stop thinking nobody understands you. So this is the message for the type 4s. This is the healing words for type 4s. And for us, we could resonate with this. If you feel like there's envy in your heart, this is what we need to hear as well. Let me just go back. John, can you go back to the previous slide for me? This is what envy really is. Okay? Keep going. So envy, keep going. Envy, okay, envy weeps. Oh, keep one more. Sorry. Let me explain it first. Okay, envy is or wanting something, or wanting someone else's life, right? So what we do is instead of rejoicing their life, you weep over what you don't have. That's what envy really is. Right? When you see somebody else's happiness, you're not happy. Why? Because you don't have it. It becomes about you. In reverse, and this is the destructiveness of envy. Envy, in reverse, is happy about people's unhappiness. Right? So for example, let's say I see a very rich man, and I'm envious. I'm like, how come I'm not like that? Why can't I be like that? He gets all the attention. He gets all the love. Why can't I be like that? So I'm unhappy. But let's say something bad happens to his business or his work. What happens? I smile. Okay? And this is what envy really looks like. Okay? So to wrap it up, envy weeps because of those who are rejoicing. Right? I'm sad because they're doing so well. But if they do badly, I rejoice. So envy weeps because of those who are rejoicing and rejoices because they're weeping. Again, there's no happiness. This is something that we could all resonate with. This envy. Deep, deep envy. Again, how do the type 4s escape from this? How do we escape from envy? Again, the only way we can escape from envy, the only way we can wipe this clean, okay, this poison in our life, is to hear the message of the 4s, which is, hey, God has provided us with everything that we need already. Okay? Again, we don't feel like that. We feel like, no, I need this in my life to be happier. And Jesus and God is saying, no, I have given you everything that you already need. This is what Christmas is all about, right? Gloria has talked about it already, but that's what Christmas is all about. Christmas is us celebrating that Jesus, who had everything, gave up everything for us. That even though he had the greatest treasure already, he forsaken all of that. Why? Because he saw treasure within us. And for us to say, no, Jesus, you're not good enough. It's not enough. That's a spit in his face. You see, this is why envy becomes such a poison for us, specifically for Christians. It's because when we envy, it not only poisons us, but we're basically telling God, no, you cannot satisfy. Imagine if a little kid, let me just end with this. Imagine a little kid, okay? You guys as parents, you would understand. If they came to you and they said, Mom, Dad, come on. I don't think you're working hard enough these days because, like, it's not enough. Like, the food you're feeding me, just not enough. So you know what? I think I'm going to get a part-time job. Imagine, like, little tiny 4 or 5-year-old kids saying that. Like, these clothes, not enough. Okay? So I gotta work hard. Imagine they're like on the swings and they're just like stressing. They're like, oh, goodness. My parents are just not good enough. I gotta strive for more. This is just not enough. I don't have enough security. I don't have enough love. Imagine how much that would break your heart. Again, this is exactly the same thing we do to God. Jesus comes down. He gives up everything so we can have everything. And we say, it's not enough. It's not enough. Today, as we go into time of reflection, we're going to think about how God is actually enough for us. That is the only thing, looking at Him and looking at the blessings that He's bestowing on us and have already bestowed on us and will bestow on us, that's the only way to let go. For fours, you need to hear, again, that nothing is missing, that you are loved, that we're going to embrace you, that you belong here. Let's go into time of reflection.